Hey guys, and welcome to the DBGA podcast, a podcast where we interview top level executives inside leading and growing companies in the beauty and e commerce industry. Excited to have our guest today, Craig Makela. Will be diving into his story and a little bit about what his company does and some engaging insights into the beauty industry. So I'll go ahead and kick it off to you, Craig. Could you please introduce yourself and tell a quick snippet of your story and your background prior to working at Olia Visin?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, my name is Craig Makela, and I'm coming to you from our 101 acre olive ranch in Santa Barbara, California, where we grow and harvest olives for a living. And as it turns out, the olive leaf it just happened to be something that we discovered about a decade ago. And what we discovered is that the olive leaf possessed a particular ingredient inside of it called olea europene, and that ingredient led us down a path of developing curatives and different types of sprays and liquids and creams that would alleviate things like itching or discomfort. They are meant to soothe, cool, and comfort rashes and different types of ailments associated with diseases. And those diseases are things like shingles, eczema, psoriasis, cold sores, and just everyday simple rashes that are unexplainable. So, being an olive farmer somehow just morphed into being an olive medicine producer, and that's where Olivicin came from. And today we have 7 products that we distribute throughout the world.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this. And so you kind of touched upon how you got into this industry, but what is about your job or industry that you're passionate about?
Well, I'm a farmer, so to begin with, farming was our passion. It's been my family's passion for 240 years in Santa Barbara County, and so I mean that's kind of what started this whole idea. But then when we had issues with our family, I had a son who had incurable cold sores, and that kind of led us on this path to finding some type of alternative medicine because he's also diabetic. And being diabetic, he couldn't really tolerate the prescription drugs that were being, used at the time for cold sores, aclovir and Zavirax and some of the other drugs that, although they work, they also have very strong side effects. So, having said that, we were searching for something and stumbled upon this kind of magical, cure. And then I realized what a cool and great thing if we could make products from, botanics or plants that gave people an alternative to using chemicals and synthetic drugs. And so that morphed into a really interesting and cool life of seeing people, feel better and use earth friendly and environmental friendly products to help their problems. And when you can fix someone's problems, then it becomes very, it's a passion. It's a good feeling to do that. So I think that's where the desire and drive originated. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like you said, I see this trend a lot in skincare and beauty of customers wanting to go for products that are more natural with natural ingredients instead of synthetic drugs, like you said. But based on your experience and your being inside the industry, besides that, what are the current trends in the market that you are aware of? What winds are blowing? What are you noticing?
It's been kind of a tough road because, as we all know, conventional pharmaceuticals basically control the market and have for many, many years, many decades. And, I don't want to get into the geopolitical, aspect of it, but when you have giant companies advertising and controlling what does and does not go onto shelves of pharmacies and even prescriptions, then it's kind of tough for a small company like ours. We're a very small company, a family company, to break in to that element, that big giant pharmaceutical element, And so, uh, trends, the trends are that the whole world wants to move into a more earth friendly and environmental friendly and maybe even um, plant based or something that's a little bit um, an alternative to synthetic and chemical because we all see that the earth is rapidly changing and it's not going in the right direction. So the trend is clearly to move into things that are more earth friendly and more environmentally friendly and easy on the skin and easy on the human body, and those all things kind of go hand in hand. So is the trend heading that way? Of course. But are the large marketers allowing that to happen? Yes, but they're doing it in incremental little, bites. They don't want to jump into it, with both feet because clearly they're making a lot of money on conventional pharmaceuticals and conventional drugs. So yeah, it's the trend is heading the way that that we're heading. It's just kind of a slow, meticulous, churning and learning and educating process. We have to educate consumers, and they in turn then make those choices that make the large companies wake up and say, "Wow, we better get into this new trend, or we're going to be left behind." Basically, so I hope that answered that question. But
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing.
mhm.
And now I would love to learn more about your company. So could you tell me about your company and what products are over at Oleavison?
Yeah, it all started with my son had cold sores, and so we started making a gel, and that gel was called just cold sore lip gel. This is a simple thing. It's a little tiny tube, 6 grams. I mean, the idea for that was that we had tried over the counter OTCs. Some of them were very expensive. Um, they just didn't work for us. I don't really want to mention, maybe it's not appropriate to mention what those other products are, but I'm sure we all know anybody that's in the world that goes out shopping in any store knows that there's only one product that is on all supermarket pharmacy shelves, and it's the leader in the industry. And our objective was to make something that would be an alternative to that leading product in the industry for cold sores. So the whole thing started on cold sores, and then it morphed into shingles because my wife got shingles, and we decided to try and develop something with the olive leaf that would help dry up her rash, make her feel better. And we quickly developed a cream, and it worked miraculously. And it was just an experiment. That led to a shingles product, which led to an eczema, psoriasis product, which led to a daily lip balm, which I usually have in my pocket, and I use it. It's a prophylactic. So we have a lip balm, and that led to a spray, a first aid bug bite and itch spray. And then the last thing that we developed was an itchy skin cream just for everyday use for inexplicable rashes or rough skin areas that you just couldn't explain, but um, they bothered you. They were on your body, they itched. They weren't necessarily a virus or maybe a fungus. And our itchy skin cream is perfect for just everyday rough skin, itchy areas, little rashy areas that you can't explain. So there's the product selection right there. You have lip gel for cold sores and fever blisters, cheek bites, braces, rubs, works for all those things. You have a shingles gel specific for shingles. You have an eczema psoriasis cream. Then you have your itchy skin cream, your lip balm, your first aid spray, and those are the items that we currently carry. We have 7 items that we sell, manufacture, and distribute.
Okay, awesome. And so I feel like you kind of touched upon this already, but what unique value do Oleavison products bring to your customers?
Well, first of all, we're very competitively priced, which is very important. So none of our products, when you look at their retail value, ounce per ounce value on the shelf, you will find that they are either at or below most of the competitors. And so first of all, value is very important for people to maybe be swayed to try a product that they have not tried before. They're so used to the conventional product that they buy all the time that maybe kind of works for them, but it is nothing miraculous. And if we can stay within the you know that that bubble of pricing, then it allows people to maybe give it a try because it's not really expensive. It is plant based and botanical, and therefore it gives you the ability to, let's say, experiment. A lot of people never heard of Olivicin. They don't know what it is, but they see it and it's sitting there on the shelf right next to conventional products, and they see that it's plant based, and it's very clear. It says made with olive leaf, and it's not hard to take a look at the product and know right away that it is a plant based botanical product. You can look at the ingredients that are clearly on the back of the product. And also, our telephone number and address is always on the product. A few years ago, it was not mandated. The cosmetic laws and OTC laws did not mandate that you put direct contact. But as of last year and going through this year, the new MOCRA laws, those are the new cosmetic laws, um, are requiring all of us now to put at least an address so that you, the consumer, can contact us if there's a problem or you have a question. We've always put our address and phone number on the package from day one. That's, from the very first product we made. And there was a reason. This phone that's sitting in front of me and all of us in this office answer the phone. We're humans. We don't have, AI or anything like that. And when you have a question or a problem or you just want some answers, we want you to call and we want to be able to talk to you and explain what we do and why we do what we do. So I think we're a little bit different in that respect. We've always kept a very open idea to communicate with consumers and let them ask appropriate questions and concerns and answer those questions. I pick up the phone. I'm the CEO of the company. I find myself daily talking to people. There's no reason I shouldn't. And everybody else in our office does the same thing. So that's just the way we operate.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this. And you mentioned earlier in this conversation that you're competing with big brands that have been there
Yeah.
for a lot of years, and this is challenging. So, what are some of the challenges of being the president at Oleavison? What do the day-to-day challenges look like for you?
Well, let's just take a sales room with a buyer, let's say, on the other side of the table, and you're on this side of the table. Um, Probably the biggest challenge is convincing a buyer at a large chain or even a small market, an independent market. But let's say it's a Walmart or a Walgreens or something, CVS. Those buyers, unfortunately, are indoctrinated into a world of fast moving profitability. They need to, they need to have proven products on the shelf. It's not, it's unconventional to pioneer a product for a large chain. So you have to kind of start at the bottom level, independence, and try to, maybe web based, information and influencers, and those things can then get you a little bit of notoriety, if you will. And then when you're in that sales room and you're looking across the table at a buyer who's conventionally thinking their whole life and been trained to think conventional, if they see enough out in the web, and if they see enough in print, and if they hear influencers talking about your product, then maybe they'll be inclined to give you an opportunity. It's a big challenge though, because typically they say, We don't know who you are. We don't know that your product is works or if it's even going to sell. So why would we want to put your product on our shelf next to these pharmaceuticals that have been selling for decades? There's That's kind of the biggest issue in a company like mine is trying to convince buyers who have all the power in the world. I mean, the buyer at a supermarket, a chain, a big box, or even an independent is probably the most powerful human being in our industry. And they know that they're powerful. And unfortunately, they wield their power. And it's your challenge and job to break down that barrier and to try and get cut through that red tape, if you will, and convince them to at least give you maybe a challenge where they'll say, okay, well, I'll put you in 100 stores. Let's see how it does. A test, if you will. I've done that so many times, and thank God we've always come out on the positive side of a test, where the product does what it sells, consumer likes it, and then they give us a shot. That's probably the biggest challenge. It isn't supply, demand, inventory. That's not really the challenge. The challenge is either on the web, getting people to look at it and and buy it, or in a store setting, brick and mortar, to to be allowed to be on the shelf, so that they have the opportunity to choose you. If you're not on the shelf, then you're not even a blip on the screen. So that's a big challenge.
Yeah, definitely. And based on that, what type of mindset would you say is needed to be a successful president and founder?
Well, I'm sorry for the interruption, but yeah, that's a consumer calling, I'm sure, that wants to talk about a product, which is great. So maybe that was good timing, serendipitous. Um, I think perseverance. I'm an older man, and I've been doing this for 40 years. And if you give up too early, you shouldn't probably be here. You just can't give up. You have to take setbacks in stride, because if you can't, get knocked down, you'll never get back up again. There's a lot of people that just can't take negativity. And when you go in, like I said, into that buying world where someone's being very negative and you've been so positive and you think you've got the greatest thing on earth, you've got the next great invention, and they just don't see it, that's very devastating. And a lot of people don't have the wherewithal to lick their wounds, go back, try again, and persevere. And I'm not saying that we have been, you know, extremely successful, but I'm still here. I still work for myself after 40 years. I'm still a farmer. I'm still producing product. And it's perseverance. It's just plain and simple. Perseverance. Never give up.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing this. And now I want to transition a little bit into a different topic because, as you know, we're a data analytics company. So I'm always curious to hear about other people's experiences when it comes to data analytics in the industry. So, for you, how does data influence decision making and strategies in the beauty industry?
Everyone uses some form of data and some form of reporting. I was asked this question earlier today in a form that I was filling out. And I mean, we do everything from follow the CDC's reports, the Center for Disease Control, to find out, who is the audience. I mean, when it comes to something like cold sores, it's remarkable for you to think about this and for me to understand. But through reporting and data, we were able to ascertain that 80% of the population of the United States, not the world, because we're the highest in this particular percentage, but 80%, according to the CDC, and you can certainly look this up, of our population carries some form of herpetic virus. I mean, think about that. 80% of us have some form of HVS1, not necessarily HVS2. HVS1 is very common and transmitted through a multitude of of ways: kissing, touching. It's a virus that's live. It's usually um, you know mouth to mouth or nose, and it is cold sores, fever blisters, canker sores. And when you say that, people don't want to talk about it and they don't want to mention it, but pretty much everybody says, "Oh yeah, I did get a sore one time, somewhere here," and that's because that's the percentage of people in our country that carry that particular virus. Well, you wouldn't know that if you didn't have the CDC data, clinical reports. How would you find that out? How would you find out that miraculous huge number and then know that your audience is pretty much the entire United States, really, for that one particular product? When it comes to shingles, your reporting tells you that there's about 1 to 3 million people a year that contract shingles as a disease, and so that the numbers are very different when it comes to a disease like that. It's very event driven. Shingles, eczema, psoriasis. Eczema is about 30 million people. If you look at, and of course, what do you use? You use data. You use reports. You do research, and that research tells you who, at least in our country, has a has attracted that disease, carries it, or needs help with it. I think psoriasis is about 8 to 10 million. Eczema is closer to 30, possibly 35 million. And data is is the driving force behind. Well, do we put all of our energy into a product that only has a million out of 380 million possible potential users? Only a million to 3 million are going to look for this product. So that's a very low percentage. But 35 million people are going to look for eczema, very high percentage. And 80% are going to look for something to help them with their HVS virus. So data is the driver behind that. Well, you can't guess, because guessing would lead you down a possibly the wrong path. So you use data to find that out, and then to know where to go. You know, where is your customer? Where's the strengths and weaknesses? And how do you find them? How many are there? Are there any, for that matter? Are there very few? So data is a driver behind that calculation and information, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And can you elaborate a little bit on that and share some insights on the role of data analytics in understanding consumer preferences and trends within your company?
We try as hard as we can to follow the data and to see where trends are happening. But you probably are just as aware of this as I am, and any listener. Trends come and go very quickly. There are certain things that stick and remain for decades and possibly centuries, and that's great. But people change their minds and change their moods and attitudes so quickly that the best possible thing to do is to read, study, um, research. Also, there's trade shows, conventions, trade groups um, that help you stay within some, confines of the current trends. So, I think people don't like the trade show. During COVID, no one went to a trade show. But as soon as COVID was over, they bounced back. The TSE, the Total Show Experience for our industry, cosmetic and pharmaceuticals, it's probably one of the bigger shows. It happens twice a year. I think the Boston show is the biggest show, but they have an element of that's data driven. And then we have speakers who give seminars, and we go and we listen to these things, and we talk, and we have focus groups. And from that, you can kind of try to stay as close to the trend that's happening right now, that's going to change in a year. And you better stay alive and alert because um, you know people change their minds, and cosmetic people change their minds all the time about what does and doesn't work, and what mascara and eyeliner, or what new acne gel seems to be working, and the one that they thought worked last year is passe this year, and there's a new thing out. It's made with bumblebee juice or something, and so um, trying to stay as conscious of the trends is elemental, and we definitely try. You miss sometimes. You miss a trend. Um, I'll give you an analogy. When I was walking a trade show many, many years ago, maybe 30 years ago, my wife came back to the booth and we were at a food trade show. I know this is not cosmetics, but it's tantamount to this same product introduction. And she said, "Honey, there's a company back in the booth back there selling bottled tea." And she goes, "Who in the world's ever going to pay $1 or two for a bottle of tea? Can you believe that?" Because back 30 or 40 years ago, you just made tea, and you know it, there was no
Mm.
bottled tea. And I said, "What was the name of that company?" And she said, "It's a stupid name. It's called Snapple." Well, how stupid were we for laughing at Snapple and saying, "God, are you kidding that they're trying to sell tea?" They're a multi-billion-dollar company today, and they were, you know, they led the trend basically. We were lost. We'd have never got that, because we thought, what? Who's going to buy tea in a bottle? And look what happened. So, and I mean, today I think Snapple is kind of passe, isn't it? Because there's Tazo and there's all these, trendy, hip teas that you can buy, with nutrients in them and all that. And that's staying on the cutting edge of a product. And I know that's just an analogy, but still, it's tantamount to any industry, whether it be cosmetics or OTCs, pharmaceuticals, or food. It's all following the same data and the same trends, and they change so frequently. Yep, you have to stay very, very cognizant of the trends.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think there's following the trends, but there's also, like you said, being cautious because trends change fast. So
All the
it's
time.
about being innovative and staying competitive, but still being relevant and not follow every trend that's going around. So thank you so much for sharing this. And now I'm curious, what are the projects for Olia Visin? What is your vision for the next 12 months?
Well, which we're focusing right now on a big web push, which, we didn't talk about this, but our company started in brick and mortar, which is kind of backwards, if you will, for today's trend and cutting edge. We, because of our background in the food industry, and because we knew a lot of buyers and a lot of the players like the Walmarts and so on and so forth, the Walgreens and all those big players, we were kind of allowed to come in and talk to the buyers that we talked about earlier. They didn't always, immediately go for our idea of this, olive leaf medicine, but eventually our friends gave us a shot, and we got into we're in something like 15,000 stores right now. But we know that your question is what's happening? What's happening right now? What's happening is, of course, the web, and this is not new, this is not innovative, but when a company transitions from brick and mortar, like we are, into B2C, that's where we're selling to consumers, it's a big change for us. We've always had a website, we've always been listed, we've always done these things, but now we're starting to advertise on Meta, which used to be Facebook. You can still call it Facebook. Google. Those are two really big platforms, no matter what you're selling. And then Amazon. We're on Amazon now, and it's a big platform for us. And then another platform that we're not sure where this one's going because of the restrictions in the government. They're voting in Congress right now. TikTok. But at least for now, TikTok 3, 4 months ago opened up TikTok Shop. Well, you know, that's like Jeff Bezos' dream at Amazon, when he first started Amazon. So TikTok Shop now is taking over the world. TikTok Shop is the fastest growing um, retail uh, entity that we know of. Is it going to be around for very long? I don't know. I think so. But there's talk of trying to shut TikTok down, of course, and maybe someone will buy it in the United States and take it out of the ownership of the foreign ownership, and then it'll thrive and survive. So what are we doing? We're focusing on TikTok, Meta, Google, Amazon, and our own website, so that consumers can get our products quickly. um, they can learn about our products. We have just a plethora of information on our website, and then they can also shop on TikTok, and they can see it on Google, and they can see it on Meta, and it starts to become talked about and commonplace. And then hopefully they go to our website or Amazon or one of the TikTok and buy the product and try it. So that's our focus. We're not giving up on brick and mortar. We're in Walgreens, Walmart, Harris Teeter, Brookshire Brothers, Pharmaca, Kenny. We're all over the place. Big Y, High V. Those are all chains all over the United States. We're there, and we remain there. But our focus this year is to drive people directly, consumers directly to our website or one of those other sites where they can purchase and get immediate satisfaction, fair price, um, and of course, they can always communicate with us directly through either through the telephone, which is the old-fashioned way of communicating, or through emails or texts, so that we can answer their questions and make them feel comfortable about buying our product. And everything that we do is 100% guaranteed. That means that if you're not satisfied, or it didn't work, or you don't feel comfortable with it, or there's something that just doesn't ring with you or resonate, you don't have to explain to us your problem. We'll just refund your money. It's that simple. If you don't like it, then that's fine with us. Most people really do like the product and find that it works. So I don't have a lot of returns or problems. It's kind of remarkable in that respect. But if you do have a problem, we're one of the very few companies that you can call on the phone and you'll get your money back pretty quickly. Um, within a week, we'll refund the purchase price and anything else that you had to expend to get our product, shipping, those types of things. I don't think a lot of companies do that today. So um, those are the things we're doing and committing to for the future, as well as introducing a few new products. We have an anti-aging cream that's every day, that uses our magical formula of olive leaf and all the other botanicals. It's a wonderful product. It's odorless, and it emulsifies into the skin very quickly, and it makes your skin feel just supple. And we love it here. We've experimented with it. So an anti-aging, and it works well on blemishes and fine lines and wrinkles. And then another one is we have an acne specific product that we're coming out with that it has calendula in it, flower, and it is to immediately attack and dry up an emerging unfortunate blemish or pimple, acne. So those are two things that we're working on right now.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this. So, a lot of exciting products coming.
Sure.
And now I have a last question. It's a loaded one, but I like to ask it. I think it's a good way to kind of wrap things up.
Yeah.
What are some of the most important things you've learned in your career?
Well, families first. We're a family operation, so I think this always goes back to um, money is great, and money is can solve a lot of problems, and money is important to a lot of people. Um, but here's just another analogy, and when you get older, you kind of learn these things. I remember reading a excerpt from Stephen Jobs. I'm sure we all know who Stephen Jobs is, and he pretty much made billions, in the computer world, right? Software and computer world, and he got cancer, and he pretty much worked like a dog his entire life. And on his deathbed, I think he was surrounded by a few family members and a couple of close friends. And he looked at them with his dying breath, basically, and said, I regret not having spent more time with my wife and children. He said, if there's anything that I can look back on, because I had yachts, I had private jets, I had more money than anybody could ever spend. But he said, I'm really sorry that I didn't take time and, you know, smell the roses and, go hiking or go to the beach or spend time with your family. And it's probably, it sounds corny, but it's really not. I mean, it's the key, right? You can make all the money in the world, but it's not going to make you happy. So I think it's a combination. It's a combination of hard work, trying to be successful. And people equate money to success. So, but that's not always successful. Success might be seeing millions of people satisfied using your product and getting either healed or at least comforted. Maybe that's satisfaction too, right there. That's a form of satisfaction. Makes you feel really good. You sleep well at night. You're not selling cigarettes. I'm sorry, but you're selling something that's healthy and something that's good and something that is not being hidden, as I use cigarettes, but I mean, can you imagine if you were a tobacco cigarette manufacturer? How do you sleep at night? I don't know. I couldn't. So there's my answer to that question. Take care of yourself
Yeah.
and your family. Keep moving forward, striving, trying to persevere. But if you forget the to smell the roses, then you're going to really have a tough time. You're going to be Stephen Jobs on your deathbed, which
Yeah.
I don't want to be there.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this, and thank you so much for this very wise advice. I very much agree with. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Now, for the people that are listening or watching this and that want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Well, just, Olevicin is spelled Oleavicin. And we made that word up because it was olive leaf medicine. And we said, well, Olevicin, olive leaf medicine. So olevicin.com is the easiest way to find us. If you can email me, just put my name in front of Craig, Craig, at olevicin.com. And I'd be happy to, talk to you and answer your emails. And then just go online and look at the product. There's a lot of information. We have white papers, clinicals, and then just anecdotal things. You can see the farm. You can look at there's pictures of the family, the farm. Um, this is a farm. We have cows and we have chickens and we have turkeys and we have dogs and cats and you know all kinds of things running around on our farm. And we have 4,000 olive trees, and it's positioned right on the coast of California. So take a look at it. It's kind of fun to explore. And you can contact us or me or anybody in my family just by putting our name in front of olevicin.com, and that's our email. So, but then that's our website as well.
Okay, awesome. I'll put all that information in the description of the podcast. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Bye bye.